Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my video. Alright, I'm going to give you guys some tips on changing out the PCM on your Dodge vehicle. Here's the thing, alright? What you have to do before changing the module is you need to disconnect the battery. Make sure that there's no electricity in the car, right? That's very important. It's very important because you don't want to have any kind of accident where there's a short or something like that, and it burns out the circuit board in your PCM for whatever reason. All right, it happens. It happens. You might stick a screwdriver in there by mistake, and it hits something when you're taking out the switches or whatever, because sometimes those sockets, there's 3 sockets, and those sockets are they're stuck in there sometimes, and you might most of the time you won't need to, but sometimes you might have to use maybe a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, to try to get in there to unstick it. But if you find that those most of the time this isn't the case, I gotta be honest with you, those sockets are pretty big, and you could, I mean, as long as you squeeze them together tight, you should be able to just pull them out. But if they are like very tight and you're having issue pulling them out, just use some WD-40 or PB blaster and blast the blast around that socket area, and it'll loosen it up enough to actually unplug it. But if there is a problem as far as you guys not being able to take it off, as far as the socket is concerned, just pull it back and forth, rock it back and forth, and it'll eventually disconnect. But there's 2 bolts. Pretty much just use a ratchet to take those 2 bolts off, disconnect the 3 connectors, take it out, and reconnect the new one. But with the new one, you got to make sure the new one is specific to your Dodge. Like if you have a 2-wheel drive truck, make sure that PCM ECM is for a 2-wheel drive truck. You don't want to get a 4-wheel drive ECM and plug it in. Theoretically it might work, but there's a good chance that you might have other issues. Okay, so that's like really important first when you're looking for a PCM, because they're not expensive. You can find them for like 50 bucks on eBay or the junkyard or whatever. They're not very expensive. So what happens with these PCM is there's a circuit board under the cover, and if it overheats, if the engine compartment creates enough heat where that circuit board starts warping, or the soldering point starts melting, or it could even burn. I've seen these PCMs, ECM units with burnt soldering boards, and those are not fixable. So just go and get a PCM with like a similar PCM. It's got to be similar. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and pop it in. It's not hard. It's very simple. And you don't need to go to the dealership to do this. They'll charge you an arm and a leg. They'll charge you possibly $1,000 just for something you could do in like 30 minutes. So let me see. So that's what those are. On top of that, you don't need to flash it. That's like the key to doing it yourself. You don't need to flash it. That PCM does not need to be flashed after you install it. So that's a good thing, because flashing it, you might sometimes need to have have a computer or some tools, or even, well, you might have to have some software for that, or even have to go to the dealership to flash it, but you don't have to flash it. So that's an absolute positive with these Dodge PCMs. But after you install everything, put the cables and the batteries back, and then just start up. And if your car drives fine, the codes, there's no codes on your vehicle, your truck starts up fine, there's no codes in your vehicle, you're all set. All right, it's the PCM, ECM that's the issue. Now, a lot of people want a diagnosis on the PCM, ECM, and why, whether they should change it out. And here's the thing about it: a lot of times, all right, that PCM, ECM is connected to a whole bunch of sensors, and what you want to do first with diagnosing it is you want to get an OBD2 scanner. You can buy one for $19 at from Walmart, Amazon, eBay, whatever, and plug it in. All right, and if you got a check engine light, definitely there's going to be codes. For the most part, there's going to be codes. And those codes are telling you that there's an issue with a certain sensor or a couple of sensors or whatever. Fix whatever the problem is with what the code is telling you, and see if that changes anything. Normally that would change, and the check engine light will come off, and the codes will come off, and your car normally would drive normally. But if you change up everything and you troubleshoot everything and you still have the same issue and the codes still come up, or if your car drives fine but the codes are still there, or if you plug in, or you have if you have a crank no start situation, and no crank no start situation, and if you plug in the OBD2 and it doesn't scan all the way, that might actually be a direct PCM, ECM issue. But what you want to do is, before you change up the ECM, PCM, you might want to just make sure that the sockets themselves, take the sockets off, make sure that there's no dirt or debris, or you could trying to push it in just to make sure that the sockets are tight. So anyway, those are the tips. If you have any experiences with these issues, definitely leave a comment in the comment section, and it might help other people out. Please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff. All right, guys, take care.